everybody, welcome to another episode of the Purple Goldfish, where we're exploring marketing Landy App. What's Landy App?
A little something extra.
The gift.
The gift.
Okay, so today we're going to look at the hotel industry. Hospitality. If you're not doing a little extra here, you're dropping the ball. So let's go right to the Hall of Fame.
Right to the Hall of Fame. You got to drop the DoubleTree for the chocolate chip cookie. Tell me a little bit about the chocolate chip cookie.
You check in, they give you a warm chocolate chip cookie. As I said in the podcast where we did this, where we actually visited one, I had been on a long trip in the winter time, got to Dallas in the middle of the night. Famished, tired, beaten down, and then when that person handed me a chocolate chip cookie at like 1 o'clock in the morning, I practically jumped over and hugged them. I was like, oh, this is the best. So talk about that little, when you need it, it's relevant because it's welcome.
Right. It's the gesture. I mean, it's a decent sized cookie as well.
Yeah.
Individually wrapped, to your point, warm and excellent, soft. Just a great cookie. But it's the gesture right when you check in.
And it's a nice hotel, so it's not like you checking into some flea bag and then being like, oh, well, at least I got a chocolate chip cookie.
Right.
It's that icing on the cake.
Right. By the way, they give away 30,000 cookies a day.
A day?
And they've been doing it now for about 20 some odd years. I think they're in the 200 to 250 million cookie range, by the way.
So, and there's that line where we talk about, does Landy App get old? Does it become expected? But in some cases, it's a signature.
Sure.
So, there's that. It's a magic mix. But if you stumble onto the right thing, it becomes a signature. And
signature for who you are, and something that's expected and anticipated by your customers.
But the first time they get it, it surprises them.
Right.
Now, what is it? The Kimpton fish?
Well, Kimpton hotels. And they're kind of like a holding company. Kimpton is not the property, but places like the Hotel Monaco, the Hotel Burnham, they've got a ton of them. They're based in San Francisco. They have about 6 or 7 properties alone in San Francisco. But they totally get this. There's always like fresh fruit in the lobby. They do Starbucks coffee in the morning. They'll do wine tastings in the afternoon. But one of the things I absolutely love is if you're a business traveler and you decide, hey, you want a little company, they will actually give you a fish that they'll put in your room. They'll actually feed it and take care of it. So it's very low maintenance.
Which is key.
Right. I mean,
I don't need that pressure.
You don't need that pressure, right? But you need a little company. They call it Guppy Love.
They called it Guppy Love. Donny Osmond?
Not your genre, not mine.
Okay, now that reminds me of, I checked into the Hard Rock Hotel in Chicago, and they did something similar. They had a stereo. This is before iPods were more common day. And I went to the House of Blues in Chicago for dinner. I love blues music, bought a couple of CDs in the gift shop. Got back, and I was able to go to sleep to one of my new CDs, and it was nice. But one of the things they also did was they come into your room after you check in, and they turn down your bed, and they leave like a bathrobe they turn on the lights and turn on the radio for you. It's supposed to make you feel welcome.
Right.
The funny thing was though, I guess the carpet had caught on the door, so when I came back to my room, my door was open, and
the wrong room. Right?
I saw this bathrobe on the bed, and I was like, the light on the bathroom, I was like, oh my God, am I in the wrong room? Saw my suitcase, I'm like, no, I'm in the right room. Oh my God, somebody's in here.
Somebody's broken in.
And it turns out it's just that the door didn't close. So once I got over the initial shock that I wasn't, in a bad situation, I was like, oh, that was nice of them.
Yeah.
Maybe close the door next time.
Yeah, a couple people have cited examples of that. Same thing, like they'll come and they'll dim the lights, put the music on, turn down the bed. That's kind of cool. A little chocolate on the pillow. I mean, those little touches go a long way.
It always surprises you though, because you walk in and you're like, what happened? Things are different than when I left. Now, Courtyard by Marriott. I always love staying at Courtyards. They're like reliable. I feel, you want to kind of feel at home when you're on the road.
Right.
I'm familiar with their layout, all that, but you've got a story.
Well, we know a friend of ours, Jack Munson, travels a lot for business. And he happened to be going to Eden Prairie in Minnesota. I think it's Minnesota, right? Eden Prairie, anyway.
Boonville.
It may have been the third or fourth time he had went there in maybe like a 6-week period. And sure enough, just like you were talking about before, maybe a tough traveling type of thing, cold, rainy, snow, whatnot. He gets into the Courtyard by Marriott, and there is this big kind of whiteboard that says, "Welcome, Jack Munson, Business Traveler of the Week."
Nice.
And sure enough, when they checked in, they knew who he was. The manager came out, maybe gave him a little breakfast voucher or something. I mean, something small, but just that little recognition.
Yeah, just you decompress. You're like, thank
Right.
you. That's it. It's almost like when you go to Hertz and you see your name up on the board. You're like, oh, thank God I have a car here.
Right.
But that's like to the 10th degree.
Right.
Welcome.
I mean, what did it cost him? Nothing.
Nothing.
And
That's a great personal touch.
right.
How about the Four Seasons?
Well, we've talked about the Four Seasons before. One of the interesting personal touches that they do is once they check you in, they literally walk around the counter and give you your key. And I think that's just a little genius touch. You know who does a good job of that too is Apple. If you've ever been to the Genius Bar, it can get quite crowded in there. I had one of the people come around the counter and kind of talk to me one-on-one. I mean, it was almost, disarming. And
Yeah, because there's a moment where you're like, what are you trying to sell me?
Right,
Get away from me. Don't invade my space.
right,
But then when it's a genuine, it's like a sign of the times. Like you don't trust people. So
Right.
once you get through that layer of, no, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help.
right.
It's like, wow, how refreshing. Last one, Hotel Vitale. Vitale?
Yeah, this is another San Francisco property. My friend Mike Tambone submitted this into the project. He stays there quite frequently, and they always have like a little fruit basket or maybe some chocolate, like nice chocolates and whatnot, which is, I think, par for the course, especially if you're frequenting somewhere a lot. But the touch that he really said is every time his car would be brought around from the valet, they would have a signature little thing of Hotel Vitale water, bottle of water in his in the little cup container and whatnot.
Which is, again, that's a perfect thing, especially when you're a business traveler. And you get in the car, you're like, it's almost like, when you grab that, when they've got like fruit at the breakfast bar, you can grab an orange or an apple for later.
Right.
Or they give you a bottle of water. That's that little thing that just helps your trip.
Exactly, yeah.
That bottle of water, later on in the day is going to be like, oh, thank God I have this because I had to go from one meeting to another. I got stuck in traffic. So
And think about it, you could bring that into a meeting, right? You whip that out of your bag. There's branding of the hotel.
Yep.
That becomes like a conversation starter. Oh, you're staying here? What's that like? Blah, blah, blah.
Even at trade shows, I've seen people, instead of giving away pens and things like that, they give away bottles of water with their name on it. And you're like, now there's something that's
Right.
that's useful. Now, obviously the shelf life of that water, but those bottles are going to be all over the place. It's almost like a lanyard.
Right.
But something I can use rather
Right.
than something that's I've got to carry home with me and throw in the corner.
Right.
All right, you have to have a hotel experience. You have to. So send it in to us and let us know. And maybe we'll put it on the podcast or on the website.
MarketingLandyApp.com. We need your examples.
Send them in. Check us out. We're on iTunes as well. That's enough for this episode. We'll see you next time on The Purple Goldfish.
Thanks.